Hi folks, Dark Hair here with another video review. Today's a look at some PSP Vita games that I've downloaded from the PlayStation Store. Now, there is a lot of PSP backwards compatible game that is available on the PlayStation Store that are fairly priced well. Others, I do believe, are just too expensive. Now, these games, the frame rate and resolution, of course, has been upgraded to be able to be to play on the PS Vita. Not extremely great resolution, compared to the actual PSP titles, but resolution that is good enough, and you're getting that full, nice, smooth frame rate without any breakups or issue. All games are a full port version, so there's nothing taken away from the original gameplay. And today I'm just gonna demonstrate two of these games and give you a slight review and look at what these games look like. Two of these games that I've downloaded from the PlayStation Store is God of War Ghost of Sparta, a well-known game to all PlayStation owners, and Split Second, again another well-known game on anyone that owns a console. One thing that I don't like about the PlayStation Store when it comes to downloading these games is it doesn't really make it clear as to how big in size these games are that you are downloaded. For someone like me, for example, that has at least a 4 gig memory card, that's not really a lot of space. At least I want to know, am I going to be able to, store this game that I'm downloading? And maybe it does make it clear, but, it's something that something I can't really find. But just to give anyone an idea who's thinking of downloading Gods of War, let's have a look at the info. So you're looking at least the size of this game is a good 1 gig. And looking at the Split Seconds, 1.5 gigs. Majority of these games, especially the well-known titles, will be at least a gig, 1.5 gigs. I don't think it will be higher than that. I don't know any titles that I'm aware of that is that high. But let's have a quick look at the Ghost of Sparta. You've accompanied with a new sort of how could I say, a new screen where you have, for every single game, you would get your digital manual. Let's have a quick look at the digital manual that's available there, where you get it in all various languages available, but we're interested in English. So you get all the details of the games as to what's available, menu options, basic controls available. So it gives you what a manual is supposed to give you, all the information that you require and need. Now, in order to get out of that manual, all you need to do is just press your PlayStation button, and right there you have your website icon available, where you could just go straight into the web, and you got this little icon here, which is available for if the game itself has an update. Maybe the app itself needs an update, or there's a bug issue of the game that needs to be updated that the developers are, have put through, then this is the button to go for. Any form of notification will pretty much be underneath. Let's have a quick look at the game itself. So, I'll talk through the game, various sort of, controls and other little things for those that's that's not really acquainted with this game, or, things that you don't know of. Now, overall, first off, the God of War Ghost of Sparta, it's, as I said, it's a well-known game amongst all PSP and PlayStation owners. For anyone who's not acquainted with this title, I would highly recommend it if you're into all this, slashing games, platform slashing games. Very, very, it's a very entertaining game that, throws a lot at you, where, you're not going to get bored. You play as the character that we see right here, Kratos, known as the God of War. And in the game you're like traveling through various locations during the Greek and Atlantis time period, as I said, which does keep the game interesting. So the game is, there's a lot to the game than just I'm just gonna hack here, hack there. It does give you a lot of game content to keep you wanting more, and to go back to the game. So looking at the main screen right here, you've got your normal new game, load game. You've got your options right there, and these are the options that's available for you. You got treasures right there, so anything that collectible wise. One thing that I don't think all PS Vita owners are aware of is if you were to hold a PlayStation button for just a few seconds, it does bring out this screen where you've got that extra settings to put down your brightness, maybe disable certain microphone, and all of these sort of features and things like that. So that's available where by just holding down for a few seconds your PS PlayStation button. Now for all downloadable PSP games, there is an built-in settings made specifically for PSP titles. To activate that, you just have to hold your finger on the touch screen for a few seconds, and then it will bring that in the settings right there available. Now you've got the option by default. This is normally off for all your PSP titles, where you might get disappointed on I've downloaded this title and the graphics looks rubbish. So in order to really get full good use out of the Vita's overall CPU, you would put the filtering on, so that way it takes away any sort of like pixel that you may see around the character or the levels. You've got other various options there regarding camera and the overall color available as well. Now one neat control is, say for example, analog stick is something that's not by default available for certain games. By going into this option, you are able to select it, so that way you make use of the analog stick. I'll demonstrate that when it comes to it, so at the moment I'll put it there. So just for anyone who's not aware, holding down on the touch screen brings out an in screen. So let's get straight down to the game. I'll start a new game. I'll take it there straight away. Now I'll go quiet for a bit, so that way you get a good look and feel at how the game plays, and then from time to time I'll pause and I'll just go through a few things. Bring the volume up. Now these scenes you can't really skip through, unfortunately, but it's not that long.
Kratos knew that this was not a mere vision, for with the gods, nothing was ever as it seemed. The vision of his past set Kratos in search of answers, answers that lay in the temple of Poseidon, deep within the city of Atlantis. Course of action, Kratos. It was a dream, nothing more.
The visions still haunt me, Athena. The visions you promised to take away. But this vision, I can change.
Perhaps it is a vision best left unchanged. There is more to this than you know. Please.
Alright, we're about to get started into some action. So here we go. You do on occasion get online hints, so that way if you end up getting stuck or being in a model, there is online help that's available just to let you know, give you a rough idea of what controls to press, so you're never stuck. Now I'm just gonna, stay where you are. As you could see, the game frame rate wise runs very smoothly. Now I'll demonstrate how right here the analog stick is non-functional. So by again holding down on the screen for a few seconds, and let's just say I go there, it says right stick. I'll highlight the right stick and I will come out of this, and then as you could see, the right stick itself becomes a form of control. You still got your normal analog stick to do the movement here, but you've made a good use out of the stick right there. Now I'll just, on the screen itself you have this blade icon there. Now the blade icon consists of your health meter, magic, and your fireball meter. Now each of these gets filled up by various color orbs collected via killing your enemies or maybe unlocking chests. You've probably seen I've killed a few enemies and you saw orbs flying on the screen, red color, green color, and that pretty much fills that blades up to make it available where you have enough to fully make use out of your weapon to be able to upgrade your health, magic, overall your abilities. Now the game is highly reliant on your blades, so these blades here, pretty much you'll find yourself, you really need to upgrade those, and you're making use out of them, all the time overall. So collecting as many orbs as you can to upgrade is essential in this game. From time to time you are accompanied by small puzzles, but nothing really that hard to make you stop enjoying the overall gameplay and the action that's happening. Now the directional pad right here, I don't have any weapons to demonstrate it to you, but the directional pad I use mainly to switch between weapons and your magic as well. Your analog stick just does the normal sort of movement. PSP button doesn't do anything but take you outside of the game, where you could press back into the screen and it could take you from where you are. Your shoulder buttons consist of your blocks, and your right shoulder button is pretty much a extra speed or burst mode. For example, if I want to press two buttons, I could sort of like roll quickly, or maybe if I need that extra boost of power. Your normal action buttons, your X is to jump, double tapping does the double jump, and then you've got your square button there where you make use of your blades, and then you've got your triangle button where it's like the extra sort of strength, so it's like a hard attack. Circle button is what you use to grab your opponents, or which I'm going to do in a second, kick the door down, open the door. And analog stick does nothing unless you want it to do something. And then you've got your start button where you can make use of the right and left trigger to take you through various moves you've learned, items that you've collected, power ups to upgrade your sword. Again, you would use the normal directional pad to go through those. So that's what the start button will the select button will bring you, sort of like options that are available right there. So let's continue with the game. Again, online hints. So and there's one of the crates. All you need to do is just hold down the circle button, and there you go, you've got your green orbs right there. And then you got your red orbs. You can probably see the frame rate of the game is superb, nice and smooth. Graphically quite impressive. overall for an old game title like this. On screen help again, which you can turn off, by the way. You know, it by default it is on, but you know, you can turn it off. Oh, those bloody spiders. Ooh, I died. So now in order to do these special move against the bosses, it's just a matter of pressing the circle button down. So that's pretty much it towards the game. Now you have a lot of these going on. Again, it's just a, you know, a hacking and slashing game, but you know, there's a lot to keep the game interesting. You're going against huge bosses, you know, loads of enemies. The levels are different, so it keeps things fresh, it keeps things going. Yes, even though you're hacking and slashing, you're able to upgrade your weapons. And you know, look at that, for example, the graphics look pretty cool overall. So I'm just gonna pause that there and just put that there. You know, you've probably seen while I was playing the game, the camera is intuitive, where you don't have to worry so much about viewing angles, like such, you know, games like, you know, Ninja Gaiden, where you've got a camera's issue. They, you know, they're not always behind you, they're all over the place. So when it comes to God of War on the PS Vita, I mean, it's the camera is very intuitive, which is nice while you're playing the game. It doesn't disrupt your gameplay. You've probably seen as well, gameplay is smooth, no breakout of frame rates. Control overall is easy for existing players and new players to pick up. Sound and music are nicely fitted. As I said, there is plenty of game content that keeps you wanting more and keeps you coming back, and nothing that really interrupts the overall actions of the game. Overall, God of War Ghost of Sparta on the PS Vita has taken nothing away from the original game. It's not as bad looking as well on the PS Vita. The graphics are quite impressive, to be quite fairly honest. Again, this is an old game that's been ported on a device like the PS Vita, so it does look very good. So overall, my score would be at least a 9 or 9.5. 9.5 overall I would give Ghost of Sparta on the PS Vita, purely because the graphics is not super great, but it's good enough. So, you know, hopefully in the future Sony will bring an actual, you know, title specifically made for the PS Vita of God of War. But hope you enjoyed the little review and gameplay of the PS Vita. Now I'm gonna have a look at Split Second on the PS Vita. Now, going into the page, you are accompanied with the same form of option that you would find on Gods of War. You've got your digital manual, you got your web available right there, and you've got your update icon. Same thing overall when you're looking at the digital manual there. Timeline's got pictures, explain to you everything that you need to know. Again, pressing the PlayStation button brings you out of it. Let's go straight into the game itself. Again, Split Second is a title available on all gaming platforms, whether it be your Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, PSP, you name it. This game is pretty much out on all of these platforms. The overall idea of Split Second is it's a racing game where you're racing around selected tracks, triggering as much destruction and chaos to your opponents on your track, and this is set at certain hotspots. That in itself is fun and enjoyable, where everything, you know, you expect with an arcade racing game, similar to sort of like a Ridge Racer, where, you know, you're collecting power ups by drifting or by doing high jumps, or, you know, various things like these. And that's pretty much what the overall gameplay is on Split Seconds. You know, in order to gain power ups, you have to drift around the tracks, do high jumps, or, you know, certain things in order to fully make use out of your power bar, where you could, you know, unleash so much destruction within the game. I'm gonna not talk so much on this one, so I'm just gonna go straight into the gameplay, but I'll demonstrate what things look like. At the moment, you've got the general intro, as you will, you know, the way you find it on the console version for anyone that's played it. Intro-wise, of course, intros always look good in every sort of portable device, gaming device. So let me just press the button right there. I'll put the volume up a little bit, not too loud. So this is your main sort of menu right there, and again, holding down the PS button will bring that up. Holding the screen down, let's just see if it brings anything up. Yes, it does. So I've got the filter on, I haven't made use of the stick, and so forth. Let's take that back off. Now, screen is quite animated, so you've got playing option wise, you've got your single player. Let me just... Right. That was weird. For a second, the control pad wasn't working there. But to go through the various sort of menus and screen, you got to use your directional pad. Joystick doesn't really work. Other stick doesn't really work. Left and right don't do nothing. So you're using your traditional pad to go through the various screens available. So you've got your single play. Multiplayer, again, this is limited to only the ad hoc. You've got your options, and then you've got any sort of like on-air sort of actions. So let's have a look at the single play, what we've got in there. On the single play, you've got season mode, you've got quick race, you've got challenges as well. So again, nicely animated sort of window there. Multiplayer, Again, you need a network. Again, that's quite restricted, you know, to, you know, ad hoc. Options. In your options, you've got your controls, you got your sound settings, you know, overall profile, and in your extras, you know, yeah, stats award and all the other good stuff in there. So I'll quickly play a single player mode game. That way you could have a look what it looks like. Let's do a quick race. And then you got detonator there. Elimination, you got your tutorial, you get certain lock events as well. So there's quite a bit of option in there, you know, quite a bit of game modes available for you to go through. So, you know, you do get quite a bit. But in this one, I'll just go through your normal racing mode, and then you've got your selected levels, and again, plenty to unlock. Okay, let's do the airport. There you got the selection of your cars. You probably can notice it is quite pixelated. And remember, I've filtered it to, you know, make use out of the PS Vita GPU. But again, pixel around the cars. And that one you could, you know, you could definitely tell on that one. Sad thing about this is, yeah, you get to select the cars, but you don't really, there is no form of customization. So, you know, it's just a typical plain arcade racing game. Alright, let's just select the car and get into it. Loading time is not that bad, to be honest. You know, it's quite fairly quick, it doesn't take long. As you could see right there, straight into the game. I almost forgot the controls there. Ooh, crap. Now there is a reason why I am playing rubbish. It's not just because I'm not so good at this game. I love my racing games. So I'll just, you know, I'll just drive around the tracks, make use of, you know, some of the features and power-ups, so, you know, you get to have a look at what that looks like. Oh gosh, the controls are horrible. Controls are rigid and slow. Steering is very, very difficult. Alright, I activated a few power-ups there. So I guess when you're driving this game and you want to earn some power-ups, you gotta either drift or do some high jumps. And in order to activate those power-ups, it's a matter of pressing the left trigger. You can see the game plays quite well. Frame rate wise, it's very smooth, very, very quick. Graphics are not that great. It's okay. Overall background, everything looks quite colorful. Wow. Everything happens too fast. I mean, you're flying at a certain rate, and it's very, very difficult to try and avoid sort of any form of destruction happening in the levels itself. Yeah, control feels very stiff, and it does, oh god, the same spot again. Oh, let's trigger some destruction. Look at that, my own destruction landed on me. Gosh, I'm rubbish. I guess this is, you know, this is one negative thing I could say about this game. I've played it a few times. I know it's probably difficult, you know, looking at the camera at the same time while I'm playing this. You know, controls are horrible. They really are rigid, very, very slow in response. And everything happens so fast. Like when I triggered my own destruction, it was just right in your face, and it doesn't give, you don't have enough time to sort of like avoid the destructiveness happening on the screen. It is quite difficult. Okay, I've triggered quite a few stuff there. Look at that, trying to avoid being a victim of my own destruction there. Now the power-ups can be used in the game to pretty much open shortcuts, or you can cause a high level of destruction, where you got buildings crashing down, which hopefully I'll get to demonstrate that, or someone else will. God, the scream, I've realized one thing, the scream, it's a bit small. It's hard to explain, but it's like you need like a bigger screen in order to fully view everything that's happening. Ugh. Trying to avoid my own destruction. Wow. It's not a bad game overall, but it's an arcade racing game. I mean, you're not going to expect a lot. At the moment, as you can probably see at the bottom, I've got my bars sort of like full level, which pretty much did not do anything whatsoever. Levels at the background, they look nice, very colourful and everything. So, yep, last position, rubbish. Right, overall, what can I say about this game? The overall idea, of course, is to go around the tracks and earn power-ups so you could use against your opponents. That in itself is fun and enjoyable, with everything you expect with an arcade racing game with power-ups overall. Once, as you've probably seen, once you do fill up your bar underneath your car at a certain level, that's when you get to trigger a certain form of destruction within the level aimed at your opponents, or on certain construction in that level, like buildings and other things. You could also use those power-ups to like, as I said, open available shortcuts instead of going through the same sort of like routes on the level. Overall, the experience is great, but it fails a lot when it comes down to the controls. I mean, the controls, I know it looks as though I was playing crap. Maybe I was, yes. But the controls really feel slow in response times, and it's rigid. A lot of the time it feels rigid. Like, I move the stick and it's like it doesn't move, or it's like a few seconds later, or it just flies other times, and you have no sense of control of your vehicle whatsoever. So to me, playing that, it feels horrible. It doesn't feel comfortable whatsoever at all. Another negative is a lot of these destruction you unleash, as you've probably seen once or twice, is they kind of backfire on you instead. And it's very difficult to try and avoid these sort of like events that you've triggered. It proves very difficult, to sort of like get out of the way of this destruction, because they've been thrown straight out of your face. So that's another negative thing about that. It's quite hard to see as well. I mean, yes, I know it's portable and all, but it's like on a bigger screen. When I played this on the Xbox 360, you could really see everything in front of you, but on this it's like it's too late by the time you see it, because everything's just like teeny weenies, quite small. The only time you realize it is when it's hit you. Graphics, as you've seen, I filtered it, holding it down, graphics are filtered, and it looks, oops, I pressed the PS button, let me just press X. Graphics is disappointed, horrible. At the background you tend to notice, you know, the little colors and everything, which looks nice, but cars are very pixelated. Certain crashes, you do see the pixel all over the place. It looks very, very horrible. Though the game does play well, there's not a lot to it. I mean, you can't do anything to the cars. As I said, you know, you can't customize your cars. Yes, you do get a lot of game selection, but you know that provides a lot of, you know, sort of like in-game choices. But overall, the experience is the same thing. You know, it becomes easy after time. I mean, I've played it a few levels, and it's like, yes, you've got that little extra where maybe you're avoiding a helicopter for an explosion, but it's the same thing, and after a while it becomes so easy. It's just a repetitive of the same sort of gameplay. That's the best way I could pretty much put it. So, you know, after going over the overall different levels, it just becomes the same thing. Multiplayer, as I said, is quite limited. There are good points. I mean, the good points is, as you've seen, the game runs smooth and fast with a good amount of level and events available. Overall, my score for this would be like a 5 out of 10 or 6 out of 10. Control is very, very disappointing. I mean, the options, everything is fine, but the control is very disappointed. You may disagree with me. Overall, this is just my opinion. So, you know, let me know what you think. If there's a certain game that you want me to review that's a PSP game, I might like it, might not like it, I'll do a video review on it. Please look out for the other reviews on PS Vita games that are available. So, you know, watch out for Uncharted, Marvel vs. Capcom. Thank you.